And I don't think that Biden is doing anywhere near enough to stop it. I don't know that he plans to. I mean, like, we just watched that press secretary essentially say, well, we haven't actually, like, threatened to pull any of our aid to Israel. Well, then they're not going to do anything. You've just told them, please. We would really like it if you didn't kill 27,000 children. And then they go, oh, yeah, sure, fine. Pfft, suckers. It's horrifying. Horrifying. No, Biden's priority is managing the threat of Iran, or his perception of the threat of Iran. He's much more interested in that, like, just historically, when it comes to foreign policy. He doesn't really care so much about Israel. And I think that really comes through here. The main question is whether or not he and his campaign are actively going to do anything, because, again, they went to Michigan the other day to shore up the Middle Eastern vote and absolutely failed. They could not find anybody really willing to meet with them, to talk with them. And that is only going to get worse as time goes on. Like, this is an issue that's not going anywhere. And every single day, every single week, there are going to be more stories like that of Hind dominating the minds of people in America, radicalizing them against Joe Biden. Been going to protests for 14 years at this point. I know it's never been this bad since I have been protesting, but is this the worst it's been since the Nakba? Well, I mean, considering that literally over 1 million, I mean, probably at this point, like 1.5 million people have been displaced from their homes. I would say it's worse, or at least the worst it's been since the Nakba. How many were expelled during the Nakba? Was it 700,000? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, like anywhere from like 300 to 700,000, 750,000. Yeah, so considering that more people have been displaced so far, and currently their only options are either to go into an unlivable hellscape in northern Gaza or try to flee into the Egyptian desert, I would say that is effectively where we are right now. Yeah. Like almost double the initial diaspora from the Nakba already moved. If Biden loses and Trump gets in, the amount of Palestinians dead would skyrocket. True. Which is why I'm still going to advocate for people to vote for Biden. But, like, I also recognize my job gets, like, infinitely harder every day that this continues to happen. That Biden allows this to continue. You know. And that is it is what it is. You know. I didn't realize it has gotten that bad. Yeah, OS Crane. They're currently bombing the last city that all the Palestinians were sent to as a safe haven. They've initiated a bombing campaign against it and are preparing for a land invasion of Rafah. So it's real fucking bad. I'm still pissed he threw immigrants under the bus to fund the massacres. Yeah. Being a rational adult means you make the best out of worse choices. Shut the fuck up. I literally have organized people to get out to vote. Hundreds of people, personally, in the last couple elections. I'm well aware of what my job is. But you know what's the least compelling thing you could possibly say to someone? If you're trying to convince them to vote? It's implying that they're a child incapable of making adult choices. That's the least effective way to get anyone to do anything. So if your goal is to get people to vote for Biden because the outcome would be undeniably better than if Trump got into office, I agree with you. Then you should never say anything remotely smacking of that rhetoric ever again. What did they say? They said being a rational adult means you make the best out of worse choices, not throw emotional tantrums. Like, I agree with part of that sentiment, which is that, you know, whatever your circumstance, you make the best choice out of bad choices. I agree with that. But you need to get rid of all the surrounding bullshit you're bringing to the question. Yeah, like, would you be particularly moved if someone showed up at your doorstep and said, "Hey, idiot, you dummy, you piece of shit, vote for Joe Biden"? No, you wouldn't. You'd say, "Fuck that guy." So, my main point is, be effective in your rhetoric and your advocacy. I always remind myself about the 4 years of SCOTUS appointments if Trump wins. I mean, frankly, if Trump wins, I don't think we get another election. This is why I advocate for people to vote for Biden, even though he's a monster, even though he is a doddering old fool enabling atrocities. It's because, on the other hand, we have a doddering old fool who will enable more atrocities, worse atrocities, and also bring fascism into full power in the United States, putting a fascist and dictator at the helm of our nuclear arsenal and the most powerful military on Earth. This is a nightmare scenario. Reason it's such a silly argument is because it treats people who aren't voting for Biden as if they don't grasp basic concepts. Yeah, and to be fair, some of them don't. But, like, the more effective means of advocacy, right, is to go after people who are on the fence. You know, people who are liberal and would vote for Biden, but they don't know what day the election is. You know, these are the people that are the easiest to turn out with door to door and like phone banking and stuff. You know. Yeah. The thing is, democracy hasn't been on the line every election, you know? Democracy wasn't really on the line in, like, Bush v. Gore. You know, I think we're in a very different time period even than when Obama initially got elected. And the stakes are actually whether or not we have a functional democracy. It's kind of like talking to a child to tell them they're being a baby and they'll get mad, appeal to their interest. You have a shot at convincing them. I mean, that's true about everybody, though, right? If you if you treat anybody like that, they're not going to want to listen. If you treat anyone like an asshole would treat them, yeah, they're not going to want to listen to you. This is true. But also, guys, part of what organizing and trying to get people to get out and vote is all about is playing the numbers game. you're not going to be able to convince everyone you talk to go vote for Biden. That's just never going to happen, right? And you don't waste your time and energy, which is finite, on arguing against brick walls who aren't going to show up and vote. You use your time wisely, and you talk to people who like just don't know what day it is, or don't know that like by getting someone into office you're getting like your civil rights back over like your bodily autonomy, or like by keeping Trump out of office you're able to keep that tax break or whatever that's like important to their business. Like that's how you win people over. I'd like to not be illegal in public, kind of makes it hard to do stuff. True. Yeah, T. Smith, I think the framing of you're voting for your best enemy, not your best friend or ideal leader. True. I think that is true. All right, folks, we've been going for about an hour and a half. How y'all doing? I know this has been a very heavy episode. Episode stream. There we go. Please hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream, and consider dropping some subs or donos, because without that, I cannot make this show work. Yesterday's stream was actually the lowest donoed stream I've done in a very long time. So anything you can throw my way, I would very much appreciate it. There's a similar situation in the UK. Our Labour Party is basically right wing now. Yeah, the UK politics are fucked. I don't even pretend to know what's going on right now, other than literally all of your options in the UK are bad. Good night, Robert Adset. Yeah, and Biden is racist. I agree with you there, young black economist. Did you already talk about the DC election case against Trump and the immunity getting appealed to SCOTUS and whether or not it gets stayed? I have talked about it a bit. Whatever happened to the cabbage that outlived your PM? Jesus, what?
So you don't die.
Yo. Sophie, thank you for the $5 dono. I very much appreciate it. Hell yeah. Bringing some of that BWA spirit to stream. I appreciate it. So far, I just want to give a big thank you to Sophie, Avalon of Babylon, and Penny for their support this stream. Means a lot. Yo.
Breaking the seal. Today is the day. What can I say? Berate your representatives and sit in their office if you have to. BWA.
10-letter name. First of all, thank you for the tier 1 sub, and second of all, yeah. I think at this point, like direct nonviolent action is probably like one of the best things you can do. Like, honestly, the people who organize to show up to Biden events and shout at him for a ceasefire, those people are heroes in my book. Like, they're doing actual work that is really scary to do. They're shouting truth to power to the most powerful man in the world, and are actually moving the narrative in America. The fact that every time Biden has an event now, he has to have like a group of people prepped in the audience to shout 4 more years to try and drown out ceasefire now is, I mean, it's loss after loss after loss for him every single time. And eventually there's going to be a recalculation in his campaign that is going to shift his rhetoric. Yeah, the Netherlands is blocking shipments of F-35 parts to Israel, which is great. Honestly, block all that shit until they stop. It's likely too late to shift rhetoric. Israel already got all they wanted. I mean, I think that they're going to try and take as much as they can. I don't think that there is a limit to how much they're going to attempt to seize. So you know, Gamer G, I think that you are weirdly being very optimistic. Unfortunately, because again, you have to keep in mind Netanyahu is clinging to power. He does not want the war to end, even if they manage to expel all of the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. They would find an excuse to deploy their military to the West Bank. They would find an excuse to deploy their military into Lebanon. You know, pick a fight with Hezbollah. There's I don't think that there is a point at which they are going to stop until Netanyahu is out of office, which isn't going to be soon, unfortunately.